Hey book lovers, Kaylee here and welcome back to the Enchanted Library. Today I am going to be attending the HarperCollins Canada Frenzy Presents Fall and Winter Preview. I'm so excited this time around because if you might remember, back in April I attended the spring and summer release, and I'm so excited to attend fall and winter because this is when all the really amazing fantasy books come out, and we're going to have a fantasy author at the event with us that we get to meet beforehand. So I'm going a couple of hours earlier because there's a few things that I'm going to be doing with HarperCollins beforehand, and then everyone's going to be arriving at 2 o'clock for the main event. So I have to head out really shortly, but be sure to stay tuned until the end of this video because I'm going to be telling you all about the books that are going to be coming up for fall and winter, and I'm going to be announcing the winner of the Black Witch giveaway. I'm so excited. So without further ado, I gotta get going, so let's get to it. Alright, so you guys can probably see that I have made it to HarperCollins, and I just did all of the pre-filming, and we're about to start everything else. It's been a few days since Frenzy Presents, and I've just been sort of taking it all in, everything that was talked about, all of the books that are coming out, and now I'm ready to do my wrap-up. The event itself was such a whirlwind for me. Like, I don't even know how to explain it right now, but I gave myself about an hour of a buffer when I was driving because it's the city, so you know that there's going to be traffic, but that was not enough time. So to start things off, I ended up being late to the event, which drove me crazy because I hate being late. It is not fun, but everyone was so understanding, and I am so grateful to everyone at HarperCollins because when I got there, they had not started with the pre-event that I was invited to. It was so much fun. It was the first time that I had ever been able to do something like that. I got to meet Laurie Forest beforehand, and I got to interview her. I got to ask her some questions that I've been dying to get answers to since I started reading the series, and she was such a sweetheart. I absolutely love her, and I'm so grateful that she took the time out of her day to come and talk to all of us about her new book. I was also joined by 3 other influencers, which we were so happily named, and they were all, again, very, very sweet. We did have a mixture of bloggers, booktubers, and bookstagrammers, so there's 4 of us in total, all chatting with Laurie on a couch, and then following the interview, we actually got to do a react video. So we each individually got a chance to react to the book trailer for The Iron Flower, and it was so cool to be able to see all of that. The script that they had for it was just amazing, and it really got my blood pumping for this series again because, oh man, you guys, it's so great. And after all of that, I ended up doing a one-on-one 2-camera like I am used to, and as you guys normally see on here, just doing a really quick, basically audio grab of my thoughts on the book as a whole, and I am going to delve into that so much in a book talk. Like, I need to talk about this series, and I need to address some things that have been brought up in reviews that I think are sort of shedding a weird light on things. So I can't wait to talk about the book. And the book that I'm talking about here is Black Witch, which, as you guys know, I'm doing a giveaway for, and today is Friday, which is the 31st of August, and I'm going to be telling you guys who won at the end of this video. So that was all the lead up to the actual event, where everybody else ended up showing up at around 2 o'clock, and we got to hear about all of the new releases that are coming out for fall. I had anticipated there would be winter chatter as well, but apparently that is not what was included on the docket for this time, but I did get to hear a lot about books that are coming up for fall, and there are so many. I'll give you a brief overview of all of the books that were spoken about, but I'm going to focus on a handful that I am really, really excited for. And of course, we did also graciously get a little gift bag of goodies from HarperCollins, and I'm so excited for everything. I want to show you guys what we got, and I want to talk about books, and you know what, I'm just gonna do that now. To start things off, they were so sweet and so forward-thinking, and gave us all these little notebooks so then that way we could write down everything about the books that are coming up, and we also got this branded pen as well, and this just worked out brilliantly because last time, I did like how they did it last time where we had sheets of paper that had the book cover on it and then a little spot that we could write next to, but I do also love a notebook and I'm so happy that I got a notebook. So I wanted to talk about this first because inside I have all the information on the books that we were told about. The first book, I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of the name and the author, but it is Buried Beneath the BAOBAB Tree by Adebi Trisha Nupami and Viviana Maza. I'm so sorry, I'm really awful at that, but this is actually based on true events. So this story actually tells about the events of the Boko Haram, which is a terrorist group that attacked a Nigerian tribe and took so many young kids, young girls, that are still missing and some that have been found, and it just talks about their stories, and it just sounds like a really, really intense read. And it does come out in a few days on September the 4th. The next book is by Gina Showalter, and it is called Oh My Goth. Now, this book is a weird twist on Freaky Friday, wherein instead of two people switching places, this one girl goes to high school and she is very much a goth, and everyone else around her is very much not. But she wakes up one day, goes to school, and it turns out everybody has turned goth overnight, and she is like queen bee of the goths. So it just sounds like a really funny kind of read, but if that is something that you're interested in, be sure to keep an eye out for it. The next book that we spoke about was Two Dark Reigns by Kendari Blake, and that is book 3 in the Three Dark Crowns series. It also comes out on September the 4th, so keep an eye out for that. The next book comes out on September the 18th, and it is called Pride by Ibi Saboy. And again, I do apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but this is a modern twist on Pride and Prejudice. I can't remember when this next book comes out, but it is by Lacey Green and it's called Sex Plus. If you've been around YouTube for a minute, you know who Lacey Green is. She is very much a sex positive person who really likes to shine light on the education and misrepresentation that sex gets. So she has written a book all about modern day sexuality. The next book that we spoke about is book 2 in the Iskari series, The Caged Queen by Kristen Ciccarelli? Hold on. Ciccarelli. That's what I'm sticking to. It does come out on September 25th, so you do have plenty of time to read the first book in time for book number 2. Next is book 2 in the Montague series, which is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. This one also comes out on October 2nd, and it follows The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. So Felicity is done with pretending that she is all about parties and that sort of thing. She's more about books and becoming a doctor, and in the time that she is in, that is not so well heard of. So she ends up making friends with someone who is going to become her mentor, but throughout the time of being mentored, she gets wrangled into a series of events, and I hear that it's going to be an amazing read, and I am excited to eventually pick it up, but again, I have a lot of books that I need to get to before that, and if you are really into this series and you want to pick it up, be sure to keep an eye out on shelves for it in October. Next is another mystery thriller that comes out on October the 16th, and that is Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand. So this book is all about girls who keep going missing in the woods, and it's apparently a really creepy read. In particular, it does follow 3 girls' stories and how they come together and this mystery of the woods. And if you are into a YA mystery thriller, this is another one that you should keep an eye out for. On October 2nd, the book Swing also comes out. And this one, I have to get the correct pronunciation here. Kwame Alexander and Mary Rand Hess have written this book, and it is actually narrative poetry with mixed media. So this is one, it's not at the top of my list to read, but I definitely want to get to this because the idea of it just sounds so cool. And the fact that it is a narrative poetry book, and you can't really tell, apparently, that it is poetry, and it just reads like a story, I am so pumped about this. I think it is such a cool way of using the format as well, and I just can't wait to get my hands on it. So keep an eye out for that as well. I'm gonna just keep saying keep an eye out for all of these books because it is just too exciting. The next one that we spoke about is one that has been blowing up everywhere since earlier this year, and BookCon and BEA and all of that, and that is A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Taha Ramafi. I have not read anything by Taha Ramafi, but I know that she is beloved, and she usually writes for fantasy, but this is actually an Own Voices contemporary story. So this story takes place about a year after the events of 9/11, and it follows a 16-year-old Muslim girl's sort of life and everything that happens to her following in the wake of that tragedy. It talks about first love, it talks about the political landscape of the time, and how she deals with everything, and how she lives her life, and her love of breakdancing, and just so many, I can imagine, heartbreaking but heartwarming moments as well. And I think that this book is going to be one that a lot of people end up loving. It is going to be more of a hard-hitting novel, I feel, but I think that it's a story that is great to be told, especially nowadays, and I respect her a lot for writing a story about something that is such a sensitive subject, but the fact that it is an Own Voices and such a really close-to-home story for her, I feel like she's just really brave to write about it and talk about it and just be so honest, and I am excited to read it, and I know that a lot of people have been eager to get their hands on it. It's kind of an epic love story by Karen Callender, comes out on October 30th, and this is akin to Boy Meets Boy and Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda. That's sort of the mash-up that they told us. And where I haven't read Boy Meets Boy, I have read Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda and I absolutely loved it. And this is all about a boy who is dealing with his own personal drama and his best friend turned girlfriend turned best friend again, but then he ends up meeting a boy named Ollie, and he's coming to terms with his feelings for him. So it is another diverse read with different representation, and I think that it is going to be an instant love for a lot of people. So keep an eye out on October 30th for that one. And the last one before I get into my most anticipated is Pulp by Robin Talley. And this story follows two different timelines, one that is in 1955 and the other that is in, well, 62 years later, I believe it was. And it's all about, in 1955, this girl who is struggling with her own identity and liking other girls, and also a few, well, 60 some odd years later, another girl who ends up writing a school report and comes across the previous girl's written stories and things like that. So it brings their two worlds together, and I think it's going to be a very, very interesting read. Alright, so now let's get talking about the books that I am so excited and cannot wait to pick up. The first one is Damsel by Alana K. Arnold. This book comes out on October the 2nd, and I am so excited because it is titled like a feminist fairy tale, and I am so pumped for that. I love fairy tales. I love everything that comes with them, but when you switch it and flip it on its head and make it really intriguing, I really like that option. So it's all about a girl who wakes up one day and she is being whisked somewhere by a prince who says that he just saved her from a dragon, and she has no memory of this. She has no idea what happened before. She has like amnesia or something, but she ends up being taken to his kingdom, and apparently in this world, when you get rescued from a dragon, you automatically end up marrying the prince who rescued you. So she is now all of a sudden, with no memory of her previous life, now having to marry this guy who she's never met before and become queen, and it's a whole crazy ride for her, and she ends up discovering a few secrets about this kingdom and about this world that makes her sort of question if maybe it would have been better if she stayed where she was and was not rescued at all. Next is by Anna Godberson, and it is When We Caught Fire. This book also comes out on October 2nd, and it is all about the Great Fire that happened in Chicago. So in 1871, there was a fire that happened in Chicago, and Anna Godberson apparently really researched the heck out of that time and wrote a story all around it and what the possible cause of the fire was. This is a historical fiction, and I am very excited because I love historical fiction, and I don't think that there's enough traditional historical fiction in YA, so I am pumped to read this story. Another thing that has me kind of hesitant but also very intrigued is the fact that this surrounds a love triangle, and this love triangle is what ends up sort of causing the fire. We don't know obviously the exact details of it yet, but I need to figure out the mystery of how she's telling this fire, and apparently it's written beautifully and you get really good feel of the area and the era, and I need it in my life right now. And also on October 2nd is a new Julie Kagawa book, and it's called Shadow of the Fox. And I have not read anything by Julie Kagawa before, but this one really had my ears perk up because I need it. I want to read it. It is all about Japanese mythology, and it's really an involved world where every 1,000 years there is a wish that is granted to someone who holds a sacred scroll. But it usually falls into the hands of someone evil. So what they ended up coming up with over the years is the idea to split the scroll up, send it away, and only someone who can find it, bring it back together, can actually get the wish. So there is one person who has a portion of the scroll, doesn't really know what it's about, and another person who is tasked with finding the scroll. And there's this whole section of people who are trained to find the scroll and to find all the different pieces of it, and then these two people end up coming together and they don't realize that the other has the ulterior motive to actually get the scroll, and I want to read it so bad. It's like an adventure but with Japanese mythology, and I need to read it. And again, October 2nd is when that comes out, and there are so many books coming out on October 2nd that I need to read. This is just crazy. Switching up the date, we have October 9th, What If It's Us comes out by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I feel like everybody and their mother wants a copy of this book, and I do too. I don't usually read contemporary YA. So it is all about these two guys who meet at a post office, and they end up going their separate ways, thinking that they will never meet again. One is fresh out of a breakup, and one just happens to be there, but they end up finding each other again over time, and they build a relationship, and they don't know if it's better that they built the relationship or if they should have just stayed their separate ways, and it just sounds like such a lovely story. Now, a little behind the scenes stuff that they let us know over at HarperCollins is apparently there were 4 possible endings to What If It's Us, and the guess and the game, I guess, that they're trying to play is who wrote the ending more, like whose voice is in it more, Becky Albertalli or Adam Silvera. So I'm assuming if it's Becky Albertalli, it's going to be a fluffy ending. If it's Adam Silvera, it's going to be an ending that destroys us. So I'm very excited to read that one. The next book comes out on October 23rd, and that is The Light Between Worlds by Laura Weymouth? Laura Weymouth. I've been following her on Twitter for a while, and I'm so sorry that I could not get her name right. It is very hard to pronounce people's names sometimes, okay? I have been wanting this book for so long. It is basically a telling of Narnia, but with 2 siblings and their life after Narnia. So you know how in the Chronicles of Narnia you get a lot of what happens within the mythical land of Narnia, but also a little taste of what the Pevensies had to deal with when they came home? This is highly focused on what happens after. So you do get some flashbacks to what happened while they were in this other land, living their lives and growing and learning, but then they come back to this post-war society and they have to deal with their life and adjusting to these changes, and I need it in my life, and that cover is so beautiful. I cannot wait to read it. Next one comes out November 13th, and that is This Splintered Silence. Written by Kayla Olson, this was pitched as kind of The 100 if they didn't leave the space station and they had to deal with the fallout of the lack of oxygen and all of that craziness. And I'm here for it because I love The 100. The show I am obsessed with, the book I am obsessed with. I know that the series The 100 isn't the most amazingly written story, but I love the idea and I love the characters, and if this is pitched as similar to that, I am all game. Basically, what happens in their space station, though, is that there is a virus that took out basically an entire generation, but this second generation is apparently immune. So essentially, there is a very young captain of this second generation who has to deal with running the space station and just living life and figuring out how they're going to keep surviving until people in the second generation start dying. But the deaths are kind of odd because they are very similar to what killed out the generation before, but they're supposed to be immune, so why are they being killed off that way? Or is there a murderer loose? So come on, space thriller, viruses, murderers in space, and oh, I cannot wait. I need this book. Again, I need this book in my life. And that cover is amazing too. It's like black with a rose gold, and it's just right up my alley. I don't read enough sci-fi, and if this really has me excited, I can't wait to read it. I keep saying that about everything, but it's so true. All of these books have me so hyped. This next one comes out November 13th. It is the last book that I am super eager and excited for, and it's kind of not in my usual realm. It's another contemporary read, and it's called 4321 by Courtney C. Stevens. So this book is one that takes place after a tragedy. There is essentially a bomb that goes off in a bus, and this one girl is thrown from the bus. She wakes up thinking, is she dead? Is she alive? There are some other people who are around her from the bus as well. And then a few years later, someone is restoring that bus that exploded as sort of an art project and a living art piece to commemorate what had happened that day. And there's this group of people who were affected by it that come together, and it just seems like a very heart-wrenching story that is really intriguing to me. And I know that it's a tragedy, and a few of these are actually heavy-hitting contemporary books that are coming out in the fall, but I'm very excited to read this one and see what comes of it, because it is so out of my realm and my wheelhouse of what I usually read, but I just think that it's going to be a really good story. So pretty much what I got from the HarperCollins Fall Preview for Frenzy is that there is a lot of epic fantasies, there are hard-hitting contemporary reads, and also a lot of romance. So I am game for all of that, and I can't wait. Are you excited about any of these books? Have you read any of them yet? Did you get early releases, or are you going to go to the bookstore right when they come out to pick them up on their book birthday? Be sure to leave a comment down below telling me all about your thoughts on these books, what you're excited for, what you want to read first, what I should pick up first, because there are so many books that I need to pick up first, so I would love your thoughts. But now that I talked about all of the books that are coming up and what I'm very excited for, let's get into our swag bags. I always feel so spoiled now when I go to HarperCollins because they give us so many amazing things, and I can't wait to share those with you. The first things that were at our seats were the notebook and the pen, which I showed you before, but also a copy of the paperback edition of The Black Witch by Laurie Forest, as well as an early release of The Iron Flower, which is book 2 in that series. But once we were finished talking about all of the books and having the chat with Laurie Forest all about her series, and we're waiting in line to get our books signed, the team was coming around with our bags. And just like the spring releases, we ended up getting the same bag, which this tote is adorable. It's got the new Frenzy logo on the front, or I guess not so new now because it's been a few months. And on the other side of the tote, it says, "Let's get literary," which I love. Owl Crate is always so nice to collaborate with HarperCollins too on our swag bags, and they gave us another thing from one of their other boxes, which I also got this summer, and that is a towel that says, "My summer is all booked." And I absolutely love this towel. It's like a microfiber. The next thing that we got in our bags was a promotional poster for Warstorm by Victoria Aveyard. We also got a bookmark that has some of the releases coming out. So When We Caught Fire, The Light Between Worlds, this kind of an epic love story, Two Dark Crowns, and on the flip side, we have Damsel, What If It's Us, Pride, and Sawkill Girls. Also, something that we watched while we were there is the trailer for The Hate U Give. And one of the things that they gave us was pins for The Hate U Give and On the Come Up, which is the second book. And pins seem to be a running theme this time around, because we also got pins for the Simonverse. So we have Simonverse, The Homo Sapiens Agenda, The Upside of Unrequited, and Leah and the Offbeat. So these are definitely going to be added to my pin collection. We also got 2 samples from Sephora. So we got the Glam Go Glow Super Mud Clearing Treatment, so just a little sample of that. And then also a Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer. So it's always nice to get little samples. And the next thing that we got, I didn't think I would ever get one of these, like just myself, I didn't think that I would ever purchase one, but everyone seems to have them. I just didn't find them interesting, but now I'm so happy that I have this one because I just think it's perfect. It's a pop socket, and it says, "Shh, I'm reading." And then Wick and Fable also made us a candle. So it's just a little candle, but it's based around the Black Witch. And it is Ellerin scented. So it is a stronger, more perfumey scent. I don't know how much more to describe it than that because there isn't really a description of the scent, but it is just a pure white candle called Ellerin, and it is very nice. I think it's going to diffuse a little bit more, but if you don't like perfumey scents, then this might not be for you. The next thing we got is actually a game, and I kind of want to play this on my channel because I think it could be really fun, but it's called Book Nerd Questions. So it's just a deck of cards, and each card has a question on the back, and on the other side it has the title and cover of a book released by HarperCollins and a little blurb about it. So for these Rebel Waves, we have the question, which YA character would you pick to rule the world? And it's just fun little questions like that. So I think I might end up doing a few of these questions in a video or something because it's really fun. I like this idea, and I'm so happy that they made these. Like, this is such a cute idea. Alright, so now we are coming to the books that I received in my swag bag. Swag bag, what is that? Is that stuff we all get? I heard that once, but I don't know if that was a joke or not. Is it meant to be stuff we all get? Swag? I don't know, but these are the books that I ended up getting. So the first one is A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahara Mafi. So like I said before, this comes out in October, and I'm excited that I got it. I mean, I wasn't really wanting to do too much of a heavy read, but I am still pumped that I got this copy, and I can't wait to read it. And I think I might lend it to my mom afterwards because I feel like this is something that she would also really like. The next book I got, I was so happy for because I ended up getting Light Between Worlds by Laura Weymouth, and like I said, I really wanted to read this book, so I was so happy that this ended up being in my bag because now I don't have to wait on it. I can just read it now. And the next one I ended up trading out because I ended up getting another contemporary book, but I love fantasy. I mean, if you watch my channel regularly, you know that I read a lot of fantasy, so I wanted more fantasy, not contemporary, and I ended up being given Shadow the Fox by Julie Kagawa. I don't know what book to read first because they're all so exciting, and I want to read them all and just devour them all, and I'm so happy that I got these books, and I'm so grateful to HarperCollins for being so generous with all of us and giving us these copies, and I can't wait to talk more about them once I have read them. 2 weeks ago, I gave the announcement that I was doing a giveaway of The Black Witch by Laurie Forest, and now it is time to figure out who won. So the giveaway was open to both Instagram and YouTube, with one winner open to North America, and I am so pumped to figure out who it was because I loved reading your comments about what fantasy world you would love to be real, to be a part of, and there was a lot of Harry Potter, which I knew was going to happen, so I have figured out how I am going to determine the winner. So I'm currently texting one of my friends, and she is going to help me pick. She has no idea what this method is going to be, but it is all going to be numbers. I'm going to give her 2 sets of numbers. One number she's going to have to choose to determine if it's going to be a YouTube winner or an Instagram winner, and another number is going to choose which comment. So I've decided that I'm going to do between 1 and 10, and even numbers will be YouTube, odd numbers will be Instagram. I really loved this book. I'm going to be doing a book talk all about it, like I said before, and I just want more people to read it and to be so excited because the second book comes out on September the 18th, and I can't wait to show you even the little sneak peek of a surprise for the winner that I have with this book. Alright guys, so she picked number 6, which is an even number, which means it is a YouTube winner. Woo! Next, she is going to pick based on the comments. So I have assigned one number per comment, and she's going to choose which is the winner. Alright, she picked number 3. Let's see who that winner is. Brooks with Brandy Shanae with the comment, "My favorite world, Harry Potter," with a lot of exclamation marks. So congratulations, you are the winner of this copy of The Black Witch. And here is the little surprise that I have. It's signed. It is all signed, and it is so nice to have a signed book, and I'm so excited to be giving this to you. So be sure to reach out to me so then that way I can send you this copy. So I will have to get your address if you are comfortable with me sending this to you. I just really hope that you enjoy it. Alright guys, and on that note, I guess that's it. I have talked about a lot of books. I need to take a break and edit this video so I can put it up for tomorrow morning, and that is going to be a lot of work ahead of me. And be sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more videos, and until next time, keep reading.